My name is Mike Cero. I'm a Mercer Island Councilmember. Madam Chair Cliburn and other representatives, thank you for your service to your respective communities, and thank you for your time and patience in listening to me. As a local official, I hear from citizens who are often unhappy about things. Inevitably, I hear from angry citizens about a changed leash law that they don't like or a ball field conflict. But the I-90 tolling to pay for State Road 520 is different. Citizens are united as never before. People are past being angry. They're scared. They're beginning to connect the dots, and they are getting scared. We had 800 angry, scared citizens show up to WashDOT's presentation the other day. Additionally, I went to WashDOT's Bellevue presentation, and they had almost 200 people, even though there was no parking available in the City Hall, and you had to go across the street and pay $3 for parking. I-90 tolling will impact the entire I-90 corridor into eastern Washington and increase regional congestion. It will have national implications. Frankly, I'm not impressed with this bill or its companion, Senate Bill 5846. If Kenmore, Bellevue, Mercer Island, Newcastle, Renton, Newport, Issaquah, and Sammamish do nothing to stop I-90 tolls, we'll end up with about what this bill provides regardless, i.e. a gantry tolling across I-90. This bill dangles the Mercer Island solution with a double gantry configuration supplemented with appropriate software. But members of the committee, I've read enough negative MI comments on recent Seattle Times I-90 tolling articles. I've listened to the sympathy gap referenced from senators at yesterday's Senate Transportation Committee hearings. And finally, I recognize that any Mercer Island exemption will not last. In time, just the reality of life, the legislature will again need money, and any exemption will be eliminated by a different legislature, or worse, a non-elected tolling committee. The legislature should direct WashDOT to conduct a comprehensive environmental impact statement instead of a narrow and limited environmental assessment. I'll not go into the technical reasons for an EIS, but the council spent our council, the Mercer Island Council, spent a lot of money hiring a leading attorney in the region to send a scoping letter that lays out a convincing case for a full EIS. I feel there is widespread community support to put a legal team together to challenge the tolling of a federal facility that's already built to pay for another facility. Additionally, I think there is community support for the city to file an amicus brief in the Portsmouth, Virginia case, which is very similar to the case with I-90. Here's an interesting observation I have. I was recently at the Renton Airport Advisory Committee meeting last week, and to my astonishment, one member was surprised to hear of the tolling. The vast majority of people who will be affected by I-90 tolling do not yet know about it. Only a relatively few focused people know about tolling on I-90 or potential tolling on I-90. Yet WashDOT has received over 3,000 comments just from the 30-day comment period that only included formal outreaches to Seattle, Bellevue, and Mercer Island. Last night, Como News reported 5,000 signatures were collected against I-90 tolls. Yesterday at the Senate hearing, Craig Stone, WashDOT Tolling Division Assistant Secretary, promised to study the effects of tolling I-90 all the way up to Snohomish County, King County, and Pierce County. But the devil is in the details. All alternate routes to I-90 tolling need to be studied as well. The House Transportation Finance package is a bad package. It's bad policy. How many of those 150,000 people who travel I-90 will understand why they are paying $1,800 to $5,000 a year to pay for the West Approach Bridge South section of 520? A section I-90 users are paying for but not using. A section where the users are using but not paying. The logic's not going to stand up in the court of public opinion. You have some tough decisions. You have more wants than the budget can fulfill. But you're making the wrong decision tolling I-90 to pay for the unfunded portion of State Road 520. You're making the wrong decision floating a $10 billion House Transportation Finance package that doesn't include the unfunded State Road 520 West Approach Bridge South section. You're making the wrong decision forcing the unfinanced West Approach Bridge South section that is independent. It is independent of the West Approach Bridge North, i.e. the whole 520 bridge. It's independent. Reflect on the folks that we represent, the same folks that you represent. Again, they're scared. I've not seen that before. They're scared. They understand starting a project that isn't paid for. They understand the difference between that which is needed and that which is extra. They understand paying for something they're not using. I respectfully ask you amend this bill or make the appropriate legislation to require WashDOT conducts a full cumulative tolling EIS so that you and the I-90 community have the benefit of fully understanding what this present policy will mean to the economic vitality of the region. Thank you very much, and I'll be happy to answer any questions if you have.
Any questions? Representative Clifford.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Sir, you spoke of potential national implications. Could you just briefly tell me what you think that might be?
Yes, sir. And this is the same issue that's addressed with the Portsmouth, Virginia case. When I say national implications, there are many communities that have interstates running through their system, through their community. If this opens the gate of giving smaller communities or other communities throughout the land the opportunity to toll I-90 for or any interstate for transportation projects, then you can draw the conclusion of what that's going to do to the free flow of goods throughout this country.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Representative Habib.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question also for Councilman Cero. You mentioned early on in your remarks that that tolling I-90 would actually cause increased congestion on I-90, which I guess is kind of counterintuitive for some of us. I'm just wondering what you mean by how you see that happening or resulting.
Well, I said increased congestion. Interesting, the tolling on 520. Everybody knows of the diversion that's happened with 405, with 5, and around 522. By the way, all those diversion numbers that we have are in excess of what was estimated in the 2009 520 report. What's also interesting, though, I just found out this morning, was that there's been a negative 5 miles per hour decrease south of the lake as a result of I-90 tolling. So there's diversion from this tolling, from 520 tolling, and then it will be even worse with 90 tolling. The diversion and congestion in the whole system will increase because people are very inventive on how to circumvent tolls. We saw that whenever we closed I-5 down for the joint replacement. WashDOT anticipated backups all the way to Tacoma. It didn't happen. The WashDOT estimates for 520 diversion on 522, on I-5, on 405, and on 90, they were all higher. The actual diversion was all higher than what the actual models showed.
Representative Rodney.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for being before the committee and taking time out to come and testify. So I represent East King County in largely rural area, but we do have some bedroom communities where a lot of my constituents work in Seattle, and by and large, my district, folks in my district are dependent on their cars to get to work. So I'm just, I'm curious as to why it would be fair for my constituents to have to pay the toll and not folks on Mercer Island to have to pay the toll.
Tolling I-90 is not good for the region. We do not want tolling on I-90, especially tolling for I-90 for 520. The issue is we don't want tolling on I-90. It's bad for the region. It will be bad for you, especially for you in the eastern King County, as many folks as I'm sure travel and work to Seattle. It is a bad plan for the free flow of commerce.
I agree. Thank you.
I'm hearing from two of our other council members that'd like to take a shot at your question too. So if you don't mind.
I think we need to go back to what Mayor Bassett's point was in the beginning, and this is about disproportionate as well. And of course, we have sympathy for everybody who's facing